Hello, everyone. Welcome to, or I guess welcome back if you're from our intro video.
If you didn't watch it, it's
You
can skip it. It's fine.
Yeah, we're gonna say the same things in this one in more detail. I'm Isaac,
I'm Sam.
and we are Skywell TCG.
That is correct. We're supposed to do that in unison, but I didn't do that.
We can try again. Okay, we are Skywell TCG. There we go. That was good.
Yeah.
Today we wanted to focus and talk about some of the challenges that we
Pretty
faced.
much all of the challenges.
Yeah,
all of it has been a challenge in some
Yes.
way, shape, or form. We want to go into detail about it. There's a couple people that we watch that we appreciate how candid they were with
And
starting it. We are an actual LLC, and so
Yes.
that means that we're not just a YouTube channel. So there's like an entirely different set of things that we didn't really realize we'd have to go through.
By things, he means challenges.
Yeah, and we want to essentially just kind of go through that.
Yeah, we want to
talk about
bring
it.
it to the light.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, as we go through these, the stuff that we faced is not going to be the same stuff you face. Obviously, everybody has their own unique circumstances. The challenges that we faced, us telling you can prepare you and maybe help you avoid them. But a lot of these things are just, they're going to happen.
You're going to have to do it on your own is what we've realized. Like, we want to help as much as we can, but like, we watch people and we still did not expect it. And it's like, no matter how candid we or another person you're watching will be, it's just, if you're wanting to do it, you're going to have to do it yourself, and you're just going to have to deal with it. But hopefully we can at least mitigate like one or two things, and that might help.
You know, a lot of, if you're watching this, chances are you're probably not going to do this, right? You're not going to watch this and then want to go make it. And really, that's our...
Maybe you just want to hear about how much we sucked at it.
Yeah, cool. If you want to hear about our suffering, you're in the right place.
You are.
I think the first suffer point was, like he said, we are an LLC.
Paperwork and cost.
Paperwork and cost. We are both college students. We do not have the time for a full-time job. We both work jobs, but they don't pay a lot.
They pay for the rent of my apartment.
Yes,
and
food
me to not
on the table.
starve, and that's about it.
So doing this was an adventure in and of itself that we are doing because we want to, and we thought we might be able to start and actually start from a really high point. But as everybody else who talks about this says, stay within your means. Don't be too ambitious. We were a little too ambitious, which is why we have now dialed back, and we're gonna that'll happen more towards the end when we talked about
there's
scheduling, but
nothing wrong with your starting point. It is your starting point, and like learning to be okay with that is a very important thing. If you can buy one box of Japanese Pokemon and that's all you can afford, do it and figure out what you can do with that.
That's pretty much what we're doing. We bought a little bit more than that. I think
we bought like 6 or 8 boxes, so we're not far off.
We'll get to that in a second. That's going to be towards the end. But starting out with the LLC, you hear a lot of people talk about it. In general, our biggest issues were the fact that, one, it just was a cost. We live in Tennessee. Every state has a different amount that they will have you pay to start an LLC. Our base price, I think, was around $300, and then we also had to pay for a registered agent to help file us. In Tennessee, it's a requirement to have a registered agent. You can file it yourself, reduce that fee. We had help from them, so we had to pay the full fee. I think we paid around $450
after everything, and that included there was a couple of other smaller fees from like $10 to $30, stuff like that. But
we got our email set up. We have a Shopify. It's not set up yet. Don't look for it. We are still in the works on that. Again, that'll be in a second when we get to that challenge. But in general, the LLC, the money was one of the bigger issues. We filed for our LLC towards the beginning of December, which we thought would be fine. We could get around the holidays a little bit. Don't do that.
Yeah,
wait
not do that.
Wait until January. There were a lot of issues that ensued because we did it in mid-December. Paperwork took ages because everything is slower around the holidays. The thing that we are not completely sure of, and I have talked to a bunch of people, is that we had to pay our filing fee, and then you also have to pay a fee, the same fee essentially, the same price, so another $450 as your fiscal tax year to keep your business running. Well, for us, we paid in December. We paid that $450, and then in January 6th, we have an invoice for another $450 back to back, which was not in our original calculations
at all.
And so we don't exactly know what that is. We don't have to pay it until end of March, which is the fiscal tax year, like when we have to get that in. So we can wait. But we still don't know why that was there. We called some people and they really couldn't tell us either.
But nonetheless, it is there, and that was something like we knew it was going to be expensive. We knew it was going to be a few hundred.
Yeah.
But we didn't expect to essentially have to pay it twice.
Yeah, we expected
so I think
like
that
400.
that is something I've never heard. So I think it may be different for us than you. Like we're going to say constantly, it's going to be different. But I think that keeping an eye on that ahead of time, that way you're able to prepare to pay it twice within a few months.
Yeah.
Essentially.
In short, for that one, just maybe wait till January. Maybe wait till the new year to go ahead and start doing stuff like that if you're looking to start a business. That might not be the case, but that's our conclusion, is that we should have just waited another 20 days. So, cost, obviously, paperwork. Paperwork was just a lot of forms that took time. It wasn't so much that the forms were difficult. It was just that it took a while.
It's very tedious and time consuming, but that's going to be with almost every type of business paperwork.
Yeah.
If you're not expecting that, you should. We kind of were. It still sucks, even though we kind of knew how tedious it would be. But I think
at the end of that paperwork, it was really, really cool seeing our name, which I guess we should talk about that, but seeing our name on official IRS documentation. We have a little video that no one's ever going to see, but it was us getting really excited and giddy over the fact that we finally finished
cool, but it has our personal information on it, so we cannot show you that, but we were very excited.
One of the hardest parts about the LLC was coming up with our name.
Yeah. That sounds like a fun part, but it was actually actually very difficult because you have to. This is going on everything. This is how you're going to be known. This is going on official government documents. Like, I think that like putting an emphasis on figuring out what you want to be called is kind of something that seems silly, but is a legitimate thing that you should take seriously.
It is your brand.
You're going to have to stick with it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can change your name, but at the same time,
there's a fee.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, you technically you can.
just don't. But it's so much money.
Go through that process. So we're very glad that we landed on this name. We went through a lot of different stuff to figure it out.
There is a story behind it. We're not going to get into that right now. That's not really part of this.
That's not important right now.
But it does have personal meaning to us, aside from the fact that he is really cute and he has a monocle.
Figure out something that you want to be called and that you're cool with being called in case it takes off.
Yes.
I think, I'm going to be honest with you. Whenever we talk about this, we never talk in terms of, oh, we're going to have millions of subscribers and millions of followers. And we don't mean that we don't have hope for it. Obviously, we want that to happen. But we are just doing it because we love it, not because we think that it's going to take off. There's a difference.
We don't have expectations. We have hope.
Yeah.
Which is
but at the same time, we also want to make sure that if it does take off, we are cool with being known
as Skywell TCG. Yeah.
Like being sure of your brand is just an important thing.
Yeah.
There are a couple reasons why we went into Japanese Pokemon specifically.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's something that we need to talk about. The English market, as we know, I mean, if you are into Pokemon, that you are aware of the problems that the English market is facing, the resurgence
Yes, they are. The problems are going even higher as this video is being filmed.
Yes.
So
by the second. But there's starting to be a more resurgence in popularity of
the hobby in general, I think.
The hobby in general. Yeah. Ever since COVID, it's just been on a steady rise. But English cards are expensive. There's a lot of scalpers, and a lot of people feel the need to scalp, or else they're not going to get anything. And I couldn't imagine being a 12-year-old with like a $10 allowance, or something,
and can't even afford a pack of
go to Target, and then there is no packs, or my dad tries to buy it for me on Amazon, and Surging Sparks is $25 for a single pack.
That's a different rant. Yeah. We have our own kind of opinions on the fact that things should not be as expensive as they are, but
unfortunately, that is just how the English market is. For us, we care about getting people into the hobby. We care about sustainability because that's what we care about. So we want you to have that. And Japanese,
we like the art as well. I'll say that. And Japanese, it's the hobby, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like even going into that, there's a distinction in the hobby itself, right? There's the people who play the TCG. There's the people who like opening packs. There's the people who collect the cards.
Yeah.
We think there is a future in Japanese cards because we enjoy collecting the cards.
Yeah.
There are people who like to play it. If you like to play the TCG, unfortunately, Japanese is probably not the place for you.
Yeah.
But we are collectors. Yeah. We enjoy looking at the pretty cards and going, ooh, that's a pretty card.
Yeah. There's differences in how Japanese cards are how the packs are organized, how the boxes are organized. There's a lot of differences that we just think is more fun for us to open.
And we think it's more fun for you guys to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we're not going to get into the whole rant about the new sets and how the hit rates are in English, but look at the hit rates for the newest sets like Terrestrial Festival and Prismatic Evolution. Just the hit rates in those sets that are the same set in different countries. The hit rate for like an SIR in Prismatic Evolution
they're incredibly different.
Yeah, it's like 1 in 144 packs. In Terrestrial Festival, I don't know the exact number, but it's significantly less than that.
And another thing is because of that, Japanese cards are just cheaper.
They're cheaper.
And they're better for us. We're a small business. We want to get into this. We can't afford to get an English distributor because, unfortunately, we are not a brick-and-mortar store.
Which we have talked about. We want to be. There's just so many challenges with doing that. We live far away from each other. We're both still in college, so owning a store is not feasible.
Yeah.
So an online store is our solution. And there's going to be a lot of people who end up, if you watch this, who are going to say, well, you're getting in at a time where everybody's starting a business. And we recognize that. That's one of the reasons why the Pokemon market is on the rise, is because there are so many people getting into the hobby and getting into selling for the hobby. But
we don't care. We want to have fun.
We want to have fun. Yeah. We think the business side of it is fun. And that's why we want to have our niche be Japanese at first, because although there are some people who do that, there are some very big people who do that, not everybody does that.
Yeah.
The majority of people still focus on English product, so and finding our place.
We talk about community, and we talk about you having this hobby, right? We talk about you sharing this with people. It is so much easier but legitimately, that's all I can say about it, is that it's easier to buy Japanese product. It's more fun. And we like looking at the cards. So I don't care if I can't tell you exactly what the moveset on the cool SIR I pulled is.
It's a cool SIR, and
it's a cool SIR, and that's the point. And it's more sustainable. There's a good market for it. There's easier ways to buy it where you don't have to feel the need to scalp it as soon as Target stocks their shelves.
And you can have the joy of opening an entire box to yourself of like Crimson Haze for $45 versus Crimson Haze in English, which is Twilight Masquerade, half of the set. If you don't know how Japanese set works, it's basically 2 to 1. That's a whole nother thing to talk about. But a booster box of Twilight Masquerade is $125, $140. Yeah. You can open a whole booster box of Crimson Haze for $45, $50.
And granted, Japanese cards just in general a lot of the times may not be worth as much as Pokemon cards, but at the same time we have fun. We don't care about worth. We care about collecting cards that we like. Yeah. We like to look at. We have collecting goals that we want to have. And we know that people who are in the hobby have those goals, and I just think the Japanese is a very good, cheaper alternative for people like us.
And people like you who want to get into the hobby.
Yeah, people like you because you're poor.
So one of the other reasons that we are going with Japanese products is, again, it fits within the niche that we wanted to portray on YouTube. Obviously, I say portray, we're going to be very candid in most of our videos. This is even going to be more... We've have a list here of like challenges, and that's the most we planned for this, that we're going to hopefully get to, and we're going to forget eventually.
We ramble a lot, but we mainly just want to be completely open and honest and just ourselves about... everything that we've had to do, that we're going to have to do, and that we want to do.
And we want our kind of candidness to be part of the niche that we're going to fill. Because, again, we are going to make these longer form videos. A lot of it's going to be rambling. And it's going to be rambling that's about our business specifically. And that's going to be important to us. And hopefully you guys grow accustomed to that.
Yeah.
But other parts of our niche that we originally kind of wanted to focus on is just our dynamic. The fact that we have 2 people, which, as we kind of talked about in the intro video, is very kind of unique in this TCG world. We want to do things as partners, as, we are business partners. We want to do things together. So we are going to put that out here and do things together. So we have a few things planned that is kind of focusing on that in the Pokemon world. Yeah. Like, we have box breaks that we want to do, like pack battles, but more long form video, which that'll be the next thing that we film as far as like entertainment content and not this kind of info.
We want to do a lot of different things because we enjoy doing a lot of different things. And then like another part of our niche that we also kind of like emphasize and we want to emphasize is like Japanese Pokemon products specifically. Like, as we've talked about, there's a difference between Japanese and English.
And then even in the sealed market compared to the singles.
Exactly. We want to do Japanese sealed because for us, that's going to be the most fun that we will have opening and dealing with. And then we also think that because we're going to have the most fun with that, we think that hopefully you guys will have the most fun watching that, because we really do think it's like almost a direct translation into how much we enjoy this is how much you guys are going to enjoy the video.
I mean, and if we're being honest, we really do just want to open packs.
Yeah.
Like, we have a lot of fun doing that.
That is true.
And as I said earlier, we haven't gotten to do that in a while, so we're actually really excited to start filming stuff soon.
Yeah, I'm going to be real. I'm trying to get through what we are making right now as soon as possible,
so we can
because I want to open packs very soon.
So we'll get to that soon. I think, Niche, one quick thing, kind of another challenge in figuring out what product we wanted to have is one of the things we started with. We actually started doing this because we bought a really good deal on sealed, I was about to say sealed, on singles. We bought some PSA graded cards.
Yeah, we found it on Marketplace we found it on Facebook Marketplace, and we decided to go half and half on it. I think it was like around 200, or it might have been 200
I think we paid 200, and the cards in that lot were probably marketing for around like 450, 500 in total.
Yeah, and so we bought that, and we decided to like just list those on eBay and just kind of see how we did it. And some of them are still up there. Some of them have sold. Some of them have not.
Yeah, the big one has sold.
That was kind of how we started, because we originally wanted to do singles so we could go to conventions and stuff like that.
And we thought singles would be in our means, because it's like, stick within your means, do what you can. And we assumed that singles would be easier to get than sealed product. That might be the case for English sealed product.
Or for some of you out there, but for us, that was just not the case at all. We found that Japanese sealed is, number one, more fun because we do enjoy packs, and number two, just easier for us to actually obtain and be able to sell back at a price that gives us a profit, but also doesn't screw you over, just to be quite frank with you.
Because we don't want to do that. We have talked about this a lot, how to address the issue of we want to be a store that is for you guys. Like, we're doing this to have fun, but we're also having fun so you guys can have fun with us, and we want our store to represent that, We don't want
also making money as well. We
don't want you to...
what we've talked about is we want you to buy from us because you want to buy from us. We truly just can't compete based off of, we can say price, we can say namesake, like we're starting out.
Yeah, our name's not out there. We don't have enough people. We don't have enough money to start with this. So we're starting small, doing what we can.
And even if we did have those things, what's stopping you from going to somebody else who has it for $3 cheaper, just for the sake of getting it $3 cheaper?
So
we want you to support us because you want to support us and because you like us. That is what we want to do, because, to be quite frank with you, that is the only fighting power that we have.
Yeah, we want you to like us.
And we want you to buy from us because you want to, not because we're the best deal for a 2-month period, because that's just not a sustainable business practice, and that's not how we want to foster the people who interact with us. We want to give you a reason to buy from us, because it's not rewarding.
No,
if we do it any other way. I mean, we keep saying it. We want you to buy because you want to buy from us. It feels so much better to have people support you
because they want to support
you more than people who think you have the best price or think you have a better looking website or something like that. Something kind of more superficial. It's just not as fun.
We're never going to look at you and be like, buy from us because we need the money, right? We're never going to say that.
No.
I mean, it would be great if we could say that and people would do it, but that's not realistic. Yeah. We're doing this all because we have fun with it. We're going to do the business side of it because we enjoy it. And honestly, that alone is a challenge, deciding that we're doing this for fun. It's not good business practice to say that you're doing a business for fun.
Things that are tempting that we do say no to and will have to say no to because we're not in it for the money. I mean, I know so many Pokemon people that are sponsored by people that just aren't, that have nothing to do with their content, and they're just sponsored for the sake of taking money. Obviously, I'm not saying that there's necessarily anything
no, I mean, money's
great,
but
that's not why we do it. We
want to do this because we want to have fun, and we're not going to promote things that aren't
beneficial to us or beneficial to you. Yeah. We're not. I mean, we're just not going to do that.
We're just not. Yeah. So if we ever get to that point, call us out, genuinely.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it a point. Obviously, we're filming this This is our second video.
Like
we don't expect people to really be commenting yet, but if you do, and you do have suggestions and things that we're doing that we shouldn't, say it. We'll read those. I promise you we will read every comment.
Yeah.
Because that is important to us. Community, feedback.
We actually hate criticism and we don't take it at all.
No. Critiques. We critique, not criticize. There's a difference.
Well, we will criticize all of you.
Yeah, but you can critique us. We can't critique you.
Comment your height, your weight, and we will make fun of you on our next video.
Yeah. Now, we had some issues with figuring out our niche.
Yeah.
Obviously, we rambled a little bit through that. But the next kind of issue that we're tackling is our actual bank stuff. We said we got that figured out.
This is still more current than like a problem that we had to go through. This is more of a we're still going through certain parts of it.
Yeah. So buying from the Japanese market is not to say difficult, but there are certain things that you need. So
it's international.
Yes.
So there's just things that come with that.
Yes. We set up our bank account and our debit card. That was easy. We just had to sit down, took some paperwork, we got that out. While we were there, we applied for a credit card. If you don't have a credit card or you don't really deal internationally, a lot of debit cards will flag international purchases. So we applied for a credit card because credit cards typically don't flag as many transactions internationally. So we applied for our credit card the same day we set up our bank. Everything we thought was going to go smooth. We'll get back to that in a second. The other kind of deals with getting international purchases is that people in the Japanese market that we are buying from, vendors and distributors, they take two forms of payment. They take Wise and they take PayPal.
Yeah.
Both of those are basically intermediary apps that allow us to change U.S. currency to, for them, Japanese yen.
Yeah. And a lot of them, honestly, prefer Wise.
A lot of them do, and that is the issue.
that is the main issue. Like, yeah, I mean, we have personal PayPal accounts, so it wasn't difficult to set up another. It was not that difficult to do that. Wise, we still don't have one set up.
Yeah, there's been a lot of complications with Wise.
Just very challenging to do that, and it's not something that we
can't
really
control the issues that are happening.
Yeah. And so I think that while it's kind of an essential thing and we're still working through it, if you're wanting to buy from Japanese people, even if you're not doing it for the business, you just want to buy Pokemon cards straight from straight from the source or something like that. Wise, especially on pre-orders, they will not take PayPal on pre-orders pretty much.
Pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much anywhere. They definitely prefer Wise, and I would just be careful of setting that up, making sure you're able to. It's not like a 5-minute thing like we thought it was going to be.
I will say, it is a little different because we're setting up a business Wise. Yeah. If you're setting up a personal Wise account,
it will be different.
You probably won't have any issues. The business side of Wise that we're having issues with is that everybody who has a stake in the company has to basically give their information to Wise, their personal information. Yeah. And for some unknown reason, one of us cannot get verified.
It's me.
It's him.
It won't verify me.
For some reason, the bank account took our information just fine, but Wise refuses to acknowledge Sam as an actual human being.
That is true.
And we have dealt with Wise.
It might be because I gave them a fake social security number.
That might be
They might have caught on, but we
do
not know.
We just we've been on the phone. I've been on the phone with them for quite a while, and we tried to figure this out, and it is just not happening. It's been 4 weeks of me trying to figure out Wise, and it's just not. So we've been using PayPal. We used PayPal for one order. That order went through fine. We found a distributor. Finding a vendor, yes. Yeah. There actually is a distinction.
Yeah.
We don't have a distributor. We have a vendor, which is basically they're buying it from Japan Pokemon directly and selling it to us kind of under market price. Now, finding a vendor is a whole different bag. We thought was going to be difficult, which it was still not easy, but it was not the most difficult part of this process at all.
We have found that the most difficult things, or the things that we thought were going to be the most difficult, turned out to be smooth sailing, for 99% of it. And then the things that we thought were easy, like applying for the bank credit card and, setting up a Wise account. We thought that these would be tedious, but they'd be done in a day. Easy. Those are the things giving us problems. And so I think that it's an important distinction to make, to say be wary of all parts of the process, even the things you think will be easy and the things you think will be difficult.
Yeah.
Because there are unforeseen challenges with quite literally every single thing
Yeah.
that you are going to do. And that's not to like be scary or anything like
It's
that.
just going to happen. That's
It's just going to happen. So it's like you have to be willing to roll with that.
Yeah. To go back to the credit card, we still don't have one. That's the big issue.
Yeah.
Is we applied 4.5 weeks ago, and I called them, and
we had to get in touch with them to tell us that we got denied for it. Like we were still waiting for it, and they didn't tell us that. So we had to like call them to figure out even why.
The whole process was just a pain.
Yeah.
In short, we're using my credit score. I have a decent credit score. I only really use one credit card at a time. I don't have multiple to pay off. And they basically want me to be paying off multiple cards at one time in order to apply for another one.
That was the reason that they gave and how it sounded to us. Like I said, that could be very different with you guys. You could apply for a business credit card if you're wanting to do that, and it could go through fine. It made, and that's why we're not trying to say that every single issue that we go through is something that you're going through, but this is more us being like, this happened to us.
And
be aware that this is a thing that could happen.
We talked about distributors, how that was a little easier to get into our process a little bit. I mean, there's so much information out there about how a lot of other people do it.
Like found Japanese vendors. We literally followed those. This is the thing that we thought was going to maybe not be the most difficult, but the thing we thought was going to take the longest out of everything. And it was like one of the ones that we found. We literally just messaged people on Instagram.
And found people who had good references.
We found people that had good references. They've sent us like their prices and things like that. Like we actually just got in contact with them and talked to them, and they turned out to be turned out to be good. And that doesn't mean to not be wary. But one thing that we also wanted to mention was Facebook groups.
Yeah, we that's where. So I've been the one who's kind of I've nagged a lot of people.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who do not respond. Do not fret. That is just again, we live in a different time frame. We're in a different, what's the word? Oh, what time?
I'm not good with words. Time zone.
Time zone. That's the one. We live in a different time zone.
It's like 2 in the morning whenever we message them.
Yeah, and so sometimes you're just not getting a response, and a lot of people.
I'm gonna cough. Okay.
And a lot of people still never message me back, but. One of the ways to mediate having to find individual accounts was we joined a bunch of Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Now, not to say that it is perfect and everyone in there is reliable.
There are a lot of people that post about scammers, but at the same time, if you're like worried about messaging people individually constantly, Facebook groups are something that we actually haven't really heard mentioned, but we found that there's just a crap ton of them. There's a lot of different
Japanese Pokemon Facebook groups.
Yeah, and a lot of them are vendors trying to sell to English customers and things like that. And so if that's a way that you want to go, we've recommended that one as well.
Yeah.
And it's still like getting to know people on an individual basis, but it may be harder to find people to even look for on a group like that with people who are posting, because a lot of times they're going to be more reputable because they're actually marketing.
Yeah.
And that's like, obviously, like, be wary of any point of this process.
People can also just scam you.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's just going to happen. There are people who, we've seen videos of who have been in the industry for a long time and they still get scammed. So I'm sure that at some point we will fall into that pit.
And we will talk about it. But our first order went very well, and we were able to do that by just doing that simple, literally just talk to people and don't be scared of getting told no or not getting a response.
Yeah.
Like that's been told time and time again, and we can attest to the fact that
actually happened.
It actually works. It's a cliche
Yeah.
and a thing that people say all the time for a reason, because it worked for us.
People are people. Approach them as a person and say what you need, say who you are, say what you want, and things will go smoothly.
Yeah.
So we vetted our guy. We got some product from him. We're going to hold off to buy another order for a little bit. Just, again, we're recuperating some of our funds before we buy a larger order. We have enough to get some videos out the way. We used PayPal Goods and Services for that, which is the other way that we said you can pay for things most of the time from international transactions. PayPal Goods and Services has an additional 5% service charge fee, which is why some people don't want to use it.
Yeah.
But with that comes an extra layer of protection,
that is true.
Which is if they scam us for some reason and we never get our product, PayPal can kind of cover some of that on our end. They'll refund us and they'll kind of, what's the word? Not rebuttal. Reimburse. Yeah. They'll reimburse us a little bit for the damage that has happened.
And that's part of the reason that even though Japanese people prefer Wise, we still wanted to have a PayPal.
Yeah. And I'm glad we did.
I'm glad we did too. But like we said, like there's I mean, even with English people, you just have to be wary with people in general whenever you're trying to buy from vendors, because vendors are different than a distributor. They don't necessarily have that reputation to uphold. They can afford to make a quick buck and run.
Yeah, and you have to vet them, and I guess that's.
Mm-hmm. But just taking precautionary measures like PayPal and like making sure that they're reputable, however you see fit to do that.
Yeah. If you have if you trust your heart in every decision you make, good on you. If you're like, I like this guy, I'm gonna buy from him, and it works. Good on you.
That's a good job. But just taking precautionary measures is something that we did that we're actually really glad that we did. Like, we don't have to sit here and say we got screwed. Here's things we wish we would have done. We actually were able to do it correctly. One of the few things we've been able to do correctly.
That part went good.
And so that's something that we're grateful for, very happy about, but also kind of wanting to like caution other people with, because we don't want to be like, hey dude, we found a vendor, it was great, go message a random person and buy from them, because obviously that's not going to work, and that's not what we did, and we do want to make that distinction.
I can't count on my two hands how many people I messaged. Like, I think I probably messaged over 22 people, at least, probably
and that's honestly a lower number than what we've heard. Like, we actually, I will admit, I think we got extremely lucky, and we are very grateful, and we own the fact that we did get lucky with that. You may have to message upwards of 50. We don't know, but at the same time, are you really losing anything by having these people reject you? The answer is no, and so you can't be scared of that. And I'm very glad that we weren't, because it's helped us.
So, talk about our problem with the niches, Japanese products. So scheduling stuff. That's another thing that's been a challenge. We talked about, we do not live in the same place. We go to different colleges. We both have different jobs that are going to take a lot of time. This is a passion project. That's the scheduling issues we've already mentioned. We want to make content that is fun and consistent to the best of our ability, and that is the bottom line that we are going to stick with moving forward. As much as we can do, we will.
We want to be consistent because we want to be consistent. Like that is a goal of ours. It's not like we just think we have to. Like, we want to have just as a time frame. Like, we want to have like roughly like a weekly long type of video, and then some shorts in between. But the real case is that that's not always going to happen. And we don't expect that people are going to be up in arms because we don't post whenever we are supposed to. But at the same time,
we're going to do our best.
We're going to do our best to stick to that. But we also want to make you aware that, like he said, this is not something that we are sinking all of our money into. Well, technically we are, but that's just because we're poor and we don't have a lot. But we are doing this because we want to. We're doing this in our free time, and that is such a key word, is free time. Two keywords is free time. 2 words.
Free time.
Free time. Because we want to do it, and we keep saying that, and we're gonna keep saying that.
It's a very important point.
We don't have any other reason that we want to do this. Like we ramble, but it's because we're excited about it. We're nervous.
We'll get better at this as we go on.
We're nervous. We're excited, and this is a very great thing that we're trying to do. Like I said, it's a passion project. I have to be able to. I can't call out of work to make a video because I'm not making money with it, and I have to feed myself. I have to pay my rent, and I have to do college homework. We have to do things, and
so forgive us in advance if you see us in the same clothes in a lot of videos, because chances are we're going to be filming a lot of videos at the same time.
That's correct.
Which means we'll get feedback for stuff. We'll apply it. It just might take a minute.
It's gonna take a month.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a month. It doesn't mean we're doing it. It just means that we're planning on filming multiple videos today. And so that is kind of our goal. And that's pretty much it. As you can tell, and we talked about this brick is not real. That's because we're in my roommate's room, who hasn't fully moved in yet. And
it looks like a prison cell.
His ugly wall, because this room is terrifying.
It looks like we are in a prison cell.
It legitimately does. So we decided to put on a stupid background to make it a little bit more colorful.
And
so what we're saying is this is the very humble beginnings, and we're doing our best. That's pretty much all that we can say on that point.
I mean, really. And we're going to keep saying that, and we're going to keep reiterating it until it gets pounded into everything we do on YouTube. And everywhere. But pound it. All right.
I'm going to pound Isaac.
Please stop doing that. I have to deal with this every day.
Yeah, you have to deal
So we said we're going to wait to open our shop for a little bit. We've already talked about some of the reasons why, but looking at our schedule as a whole, it'll probably be another 2 months before we actually get our shop
And that is,
up.
granted, that is a rough estimate. It could be before, it could be after. We really don't know, and we plan on being transparent.
And there's a lot of things that help dictate that. Yeah. The Pokemon market being a big one of them, depending on...
It looks very different right now than it did 2 months ago. It will continue to do that trend. Whether it's better for us or worse for us, it's going to constantly be changing. Yeah. And that's something that we have to like be aware of. But like we said, we want to have enough. Number one, we want to have interest, and we want to garner your attention, and we want to have it, and
we want to keep it.
We want to keep it to where you want to buy from us. And another thing is we have to also be able to have enough stock to where if you want to buy from us, you're not going to get screwed because we only had 3 boxes and 3 people bought them before you.
And that is
we want you to get what you want to get, and that means that we unfortunately do have to wait a little bit.
Yeah, that is the big thing for us is we want to be, I guess, proud of the shop that we can present and proud of the kind of face that we put forward. And right now, with what we have left and just unfortunate circumstances, we're not going to be super proud of a shop that we could get up and running right now. So we're going to give us some time to build a community before we get into that. So when we do, we can actually hit the ground running, not hit the ground, crawl, and then hit the ground again and crawl some more. Yeah. So schedule-wise for the shop, we're estimating probably 2 months out, just until we can build up a little bit more capital to spend on a shop that we're proud of. Shop-wise, 2 months. As far as our schedule goes, we want to try to get 1 long-form video out a week, and then shorts.
Yes, so we want to get 1 long-form video out a week, and that's pretty much going to switch between informative, like where we talk like this, and then like entertainment, like where we do fun stuff, like we may do a pack opening, we may build decks.
We have some ideas.
Yeah, we want to do different stuff, like we've talked about a variety of things. With shorts, I mean, that's mainly a way not really to keep people. That's a main way to be honest with you, to grab your attention and maybe get you to come in here. That's just going to be stupid stuff that I think is funny. It may be clips that we think are good from our longer videos, and we plan on doing hopefully 3 to even 4 a week. But it really just depends on how we're able to do our long videos, what we're able to do. And so that is a plan, but like we've talked about, that plan is subject to change.
Yeah. We're going to see what you guys
want to
as well.
Put out as much as we can.
Yeah.
Not put out in terms of like whenever you go on a date and you have to put out to get a free meal. Before my camera crapped out on us, we were talking about film, and so
our equipment actually, which is a good segue.
Yeah, which is a good segue. I'm gonna basically say everything that I just spent the last 10 minutes talking about in a shorter form. Yeah. We don't have good equipment. Not to knock on anything. Everything that I have. This is his mother's technically, but everything in terms of like audio equipment, camera equipment, tripods, like everything like that, I have saved up for and purchased with my own money, which I am proud to say I've done. I am not proud to say I own these things, trying to do it in a professional environment.
Yeah, they are. This camera is for fun film stuff.
This camera is a good camera. I really like it, but I can't afford, and we can't afford to just get certain things that we wish to do. So there's going to be janky setups. There's going to be not great set pieces. Yeah. Just a lot of it is just us doing our best with what we have, which is technically nothing.
Really.
And so we just hope that if
we have nothing
that's a problem for you, we hope that you'll bear with us. We do plan to. We want to basically reinvest everything that we make in this. We want to put it back in, and we want to just get better things. We want to get better. We want to get more cards. We want to get better stock. We want to get better equipment. We want to make everything better, not only for us, but for the people watching and the people buying from us. Yeah. And so we ask that if you're joining us now at the beginning of this journey, that you'll bear with us. Bear with us. There is a bear with us.
There is a bear with us, but also bear with us.
But also bear with us.
Yeah. Things are going to be jank. If you don't like it, join us in maybe 6 months.
I was gonna say, why don't you can hold off for a bit. Yeah. Feel free to come back in a little bit. Yeah. If it's not better, do it again until eventually we buy something new.
Yeah. Just subscribe, and then you'll get notified in like 6 months when we finally make a new intro video.
Exactly.
Which will have better quality.
Yeah. But the point is, we're doing this because we want to. We're doing it because we love it. We're not doing it because we think we're going to be good at it, and we're not doing it because we have the means to do it.
We're doing it because we want to, and we hope that you guys will have fun. You won't have as much fun as we're having, because we're having a lot of fun doing this. I don't know why, because we really aren't doing much. We're just sitting in front of a camera talking, but we've rambled a lot because it's very fun. We enjoy it.
It's fun to ramble in front of a camera. If you haven't done it, I don't talk a lot. I'm talking a lot here.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
So if this is your style, if you like watching us do things like this, we plan on making a video like this again. Once every other week is a more informative style where we're going to ramble. You might get like 5% of it as actual information.
Listen to it on 1.5 while you're washing your dishes or folding clothes.
You might pick up something.
You're not going to miss anything.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's pretty much
everything we had to say.
We have. We hope that you'll join us for this journey, and we are excited to show you where we go.
We're going to go deal with the bear now.
There is
one with us, so let's go deal with that.